Ah, welcome back, you beautiful paradox of equations and chaos. You, yes, you. The one whose mind has always been doing mathematics no human syllabus ever dared to document. And today, the world finally caught up to the first decimal place of who you are. It hit them like an unexpected audit on a life they thought made sense. The math finally landed in their skulls, and it didn't arrive politely. It tore through their assumptions like a rogue algorithm gone feral, frying circuits they didn't even realize they had, because they weren't prepared for someone like you. They were prepared for predictable, linear-thinking mortals repeating recycled theories, not for a living glitch in the equation, not for an outlaw logic bender who rewrites the rules while everyone else is still struggling to understand Chapter 1. They miscalculated you. They subtracted your potential. They divided your worth. They rounded your brilliance down just to make themselves feel balanced. But numbers don't lie, and neither do consequences. And now the equation they built collapses under the gravitational pull of your mind. You see, they spent years believing you were random noise, some undefined anomaly that would eventually settle into normalcy. They were wrong. You weren't noise. You were signal. You were the pattern hidden inside their blindness, the solution encoded in frequencies their dull minds couldn't detect. They mistook your silence for confusion, your questions for naivety, your curiosity for chaos. But now the math is complete. Now the results are printed in the air with ink made of inevitability, and suddenly they can't breathe. Because the intelligence they dismissed has rearranged the architecture of their world. They stare at you like a corrupt file they can't open, whispering excuses to themselves as if excuses can reverse exponential growth. But they can't, because you broke the curve. You melted the bell graph. You bent probability. You are an illegal level of genius, so advanced their systems glitch just trying to interpret your existence. And oh, how it terrifies them. Not because you're loud, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you're accurate. You strike with the precision of mathematics, learned in the dark. Your logic erupts from places they've never touched. The shadows where you trained alone. The nights you solved equations written in pain. The hours you developed strategies while the world was sleeping. Your intelligence isn't academic. It's a weapon crafted in silence. A weapon they never saw being sharpened. A weapon they never imagined would be aimed at the illusions they cling to. They mock what they fear. And they feared the magnitude of your mind long before they admitted it to themselves. They feared the way you walked into rooms not like a student, but like someone who already solved the test before it was even printed. They feared the way you absorbed information like oxygen, metabolizing complexity into clarity, while they still struggled to spell their own theories. But their fear wasn't loud enough to warn them. They still underestimated you. They still tried to fit you into cheap categories. They still believed they could define you with labels manufactured by minds smaller than your shadow. And now those same minds are malfunctioning. The math is undeniable. The equations lead to one truth. You don't belong on their level. You never did. You exceed the limit. You violate the range. You exist outside the bounds of what their frameworks can compute. You are the outlier their textbooks warned them about. The outlier that destroys the average. The outlier that forces every statistic to rewrite itself to avoid extinction. You're not supposed to be possible, and yet you are. They stare at you like a glitch running a perfect loop. They run diagnostics on themselves because they can't comprehend how someone they thought they could overlook outran them mentally without ever breaking a sweat. They're stuck recalculating every interaction, every assumption, every moment they dismissed you. Their egos are doing long division in slow motion, while your mind is moving in quantum leaps. They trusted their instincts, but their instincts were built for mediocrity. You operate on a frequency their nervous system wasn't evolved to interpret. You see angles they don't. You hear patterns they can't. You feel truths they spend their entire lives avoiding. You don't process reality the way they do. They follow steps. You jump dimensions. They memorize formulas. You rewrite them in real time. They solve problems. You dissolve boundaries. Your intelligence isn't linear, it's explosive. It doesn't march forward, it detonates. And now the blast radius is finally hitting them. Their systems weren't designed to handle someone who refuses to stay inside the lines. Their minds weren't equipped to stand next to a person whose mere thought process invalidates entire structures. That's why they're malfunctioning. That's why their confidence is flickering. That's why their voices crack when they say your name. You've become living evidence that their ceilings were illusions. And illusions don't survive contact with truth. What terrifies them most is not what you know, it's how you know. The way insight arrives in you like lightning striking a calm sea. The way solutions bloom out of silence. The way you calculate reality with instincts that feel supernatural to those who've never stepped outside their comfort zone. You fracture their sense of identity simply by existing. They were raised to believe intelligence looks polished, rehearsed, packaged with certificates and praises. But your genius came raw, sharpened by solitude, tempered by struggle, fueled by a refusal to die quietly. Your mind is a rebellion that never required validation, a rebellion that didn't wait for permission, a rebellion that built itself piece by piece while everyone else was trying to memorize the alphabet. They wanted to slow you down by ignoring you. They thought if they starved you of applause, you'd lose your fire. They don't understand that your fire wasn't seeking oxygen from them. You were burning from within. You weren't learning to impress. You were learning to survive. You weren't thinking to be praised. You were thinking to escape the mental prisons they found comfort in. That's why you kept growing when they stopped. That's why your understanding kept expanding, while theirs stayed trapped in recycled ideas. You didn't climb the ladder. You dismantled it. You learned to levitate. Now every step you take rewrites the floor beneath you. Their jealousy is predictable. Their awe is unavoidable. Their panic is deliciously accurate. Because for the first time, they're experiencing the full equation of you, not the discounted version they convinced themselves was safe to ignore. They're staring at the real numbers now, the ones that break calculators, the ones that turn confident voices into stuttering static, the ones that force people to question whether their entire life was built on miscalculations. And deep down, they know it was. Because while they were memorizing how to appear smart, you were mastering how to think. While they were competing for crumbs of validation, you were devouring worlds inside your mind. While they were diagnosing your quietness as confusion, you were mapping out futures they'll never reach. Your intelligence didn't grow in sunlight, it grew underground, in the pressure chambers of being misunderstood. And pressure does things to a mind like yours. It doesn't break it, it crystallizes it. You became something sharp, something rare, something that fractures realities when held up to the light. And they hate that. They hate that your brilliance exposes the artificiality of their own. Your existence reveals how small they allowed themselves to become. How loudly they pretended to know things they never understood. How confidently they dismissed someone whose shadow alone holds more insight than their entire worldview. But hate is irrelevant. Their opinions no longer intersect with your trajectory. You've moved too far. You've become too fast. You've become too wide. They don't have the mental bandwidth to follow you anymore. Their minds operate like old software, slow, glitchy, easy to overwhelm. And you're running on an operating system that hasn't even been invented yet. Your mind is the future version of what intelligence looks like when freed from conformity. You're not here to impress them. You're here to transcend them. They feel it. They fear it. They're drowning in equations they don't recognize because those equations came from you. But here's the quiet, lethal punchline they're trying not to face. You're not even fully activated yet. What they're seeing now, the brilliance that's frying their circuits, is merely the warm-up, the prototype, the prelude. And even that was enough to rearrange their sense of reality. They haven't seen the mind you'll become when you stop holding back. They haven't seen the equations you'll write when you stop shrinking your brilliance to avoid their fear. They haven't seen the structures you'll collapse just by thinking too deeply, too quickly. You were never meant to fit into their systems. You were meant to expose them, to upgrade them, to replace them entirely. And now that the math has finally hit them, now that the truth has detonated on their worldview like a silent bomb, there is no going back for them. Once someone realizes they've been standing next to illegal-level genius disguised as a misfit, their old arrogance cannot survive. Their confidence cannot regenerate. Their illusions cannot hold. You have become the crack in their foundation, the variable they cannot solve, the unsimplifiable factor that ruins their entire equation. And now something else is happening, something they can feel but cannot name. It's the creeping realization that the version of you they're panicking about right now isn't even your final form. They're not afraid of your intelligence as it is. They're afraid of what your intelligence will become once you stop compressing it for their comfort. They know this is just your early math, your entry-level calculations, the fragments of brilliance you accidentally let slip while you were minding your own business. And if these fragments alone were enough to collapse their egos, what happens when you choose to unleash the full theorem of who you are? They don't want to think about that. Their brains short out just imagining the possibility. Their circuits glitch. Their mental servers overheat. Because the truth is too large to compute, you're scaling exponentially, violently, inevitably. They've never met a mind that upgrades in real time. A mind that doesn't evolve by accident. Your mind evolves by instinct. While they need lessons, mentors, reassurance, and applause just to take the next step, you leap across dimensions without warning. They're still trying to solve yesterday's version of you, while you're already building frameworks they will take decades to comprehend. It's the velocity that terrifies them, the acceleration, the rate of expansion, because ordinary people plateau. They peak, they decline, they settle. But you, there is no plateau in your equation. Your graph doesn't curve. It spikes upward like a weapon. You are growth without end, evolution without pause, intelligence without a ceiling. And they know there is no calculator built that can measure where minds like yours are heading. That's why their fear is no longer rooted in insecurity. It's rooted in inevitability. You've become an intellectual phenomenon, and they weren't built to interact with phenomena. They were trained to handle manageable problems, predictable outcomes, familiar logic. But you're none of that. You're the unknown variable that rewrites the entire formula. You're the proof that their understanding of reality was incomplete. You're the reminder that the universe rewards those who think beyond the boundaries of human approval. And once they realize that, their identities begin to crumble. Because their confidence relied on believing they were smart enough to judge you. But now they see the truth. Their judgments weren't critiques. They were confessions of their limitations, projected onto someone operating in a league they never qualified for. It's almost poetic, really. They thought they were the evaluators, the graders, the intellectual authorities. But the moment your genius surfaced, their roles inverted. They became the ones being examined. Your presence is now the test. Your intelligence is the rubric. Your evolution is the standard. They aren't evaluating you anymore. They're trying desperately to prove they aren't completely obsolete. But it's too late. The moment the math clicked in their minds, the hierarchy inverted. They realized they were never the reference point. You were. You always were. And now they're scrambling to adjust their identities around the truth that the person they once mocked is the same person they now measure themselves against. And here's the irony that's ripping their self-worth apart. Your rise wasn't sudden. It was simply invisible to them. A brain like yours doesn't appear overnight. It builds silently, relentlessly, beneath the surface while everyone else is distracted by noise. You've been calculating in the dark, connecting patterns, decoding contradictions, forming insights from the ashes of every insult they ever threw your way. The brilliance they're now choking on didn't come from applause. It came from resistance, from the quiet pressure of being misunderstood, from the hours you spent thinking while they spent the same hours pretending. Your genius is born from the very conditions they thought would break you. They created the environment. You used it as fuel. And now they're watching the result of their own sabotage. A mind sharpened beyond legality, beyond containment, beyond their comprehension. They tell themselves it's luck. They tell themselves you got it easy. But internally, they know the truth is far more dangerous. You earned it. You built it. You forged it from experiences they couldn't survive. You extracted intelligence from chaos, clarity from pain, strategy from every failed expectation. Your genius is not a privilege. It's a consequence of surviving things they would have collapsed under. And that fact alone fries their circuits more brutally than anything you could ever say. Because intelligence earned through adversity carries a kind of precision no classroom can teach. A kind of insight no handbook can prepare someone for. A kind of mental autonomy they can only dream of possessing. That's why they study you now, observe you, mimic you. They watch your moves like analysts trying to decode an extraterrestrial signal. They replay the moments they dismissed you, trying to identify where your genius began, as if locating the origin will help them replicate it. But they can't replicate what they never lived. Their minds weren't tempered in fire. They weren't trained by silence. They weren't sculpted by solitude. They weren't built in the absence of validation. And without those conditions, they will never touch the levels you're entering effortlessly. That truth sits in their chest like static. It haunts them. It keeps them awake, because now they know they are not evolving at the same rate you are. They are slowing down. You are speeding up. This is the moment they realize something irreversible. They can no longer predict you. They can no longer estimate you. They can no longer categorize you. And when a mind loses the ability to categorize something, fear becomes its default setting. That's why they're uneasy around you now. That's why their energy shifts when you walk into a room. That's why conversations falter, why smiles stiffen, why eyes dart away involuntarily. They don't know what version of you they're encountering at any given moment, because you're not just growing, you're mutating intellectually. You're stretching past the boundaries they relied on to feel superior. And without those boundaries, without those comforting illusions, they stand exposed in front of someone whose brilliance shows them their own stagnation. Your intelligence has become a mirror reflecting everything they avoided acknowledging about themselves. The projects they abandoned, the risks they never took, the potential they never developed, the courage they never embodied. And when they look into that mirror, your reflection is the contrast that cuts the deepest, because you became what they would have become if they hadn't chosen comfort over evolution, if they hadn't traded curiosity for conformity, if they hadn't surrendered to mediocrity the moment life demanded something sharper from them. Now they walk around feeling mathematically incorrect next to you. Their inner equations fail to balance. Their sense of identity fails to align. They feel like wrong answers standing next to the solution key. And they try, desperately, to hide it. But their energy exposes everything. You can see the panic in the way they talk too much around you. You can see the insecurity in the way they explain simple things as if you don't already know them. You can see the ego fracture in the way they downplay your achievements while overvaluing their own. Their behavior is no longer arrogance, it's survival. They are trying to stay relevant in the presence of a mind that outranks them without trying. But the most devastating part is the inevitability they can't shake off. You're still accelerating, still expanding, still unlocking layers of cognition they will never experience. This isn't the peak. This isn't the limit. This isn't even the full equation. This is a preview, a teaser, a trailer for the intellect you are becoming. And they feel the gravity of that on a biological level. Their nervous systems recoil, their thoughts falter, their confidence buckles. Because somewhere deep in their subconscious, a truth is whispering with clinical accuracy. If this is the early version of you, the final version will be a phenomenon too advanced for them to coexist with comfortably. And that whisper, quiet, relentless, merciless, gnaws at them from the inside. It tells them that your presence alone marks the end of their intellectual comfort zone. That every new evolution you undergo widens the gap until the gap becomes a chasm, and the chasm becomes an abyss. They're standing on the edge of that abyss now, staring down into depths their minds were never designed to explore. They feel the pull of it. They feel the vertigo of inadequacy. And the realization drops like a weight in their stomachs. You are not just ahead of them. You are leaving their entire species of thinking behind. They don't know how to process someone who improves without external instruction, someone who upgrades without needing permission, someone who expands without needing applause. You are the nightmare scenario for people whose confidence depends on believing they are smarter than the room. Every careless thought they release, every lazy opinion, every regurgitated idea exposes them instantly in front of someone whose mind operates on a level their egos can't reach. They're used to hiding behind jargon, behind tone, behind confidence. But none of those shields work against someone who sees the structure behind the statement, the logic behind the language, the flaw behind the facade. You became the one person they cannot manipulate through performance. And that terrifies them more than any insult ever could. Because once you strip away performance, once you remove the costumes of intelligence, what remains is the raw architecture of the mind. And compared to yours, theirs looks like a fragile collection of mismatched equations held together with hope and ego. They try to hide that. They try to cover the cracks, but the cracks widen every time they're near you, because proximity to brilliance is the cruelest mirror. It shows them what they could have been if they hadn't surrendered so early in life, if they hadn't chosen comfort, if they hadn't obeyed the system, if they hadn't betrayed their own curiosity. And here's the irony. They resent you for succeeding where they quit. It's not your intelligence that hurts them. It's the reminder of their abandonment of their own. They feel the sting of every opportunity they ignored, the guilt of every moment they chose distraction over discipline, the regret of every insight they never explored. Your presence is a punishment they never expected. You are the living embodiment of the potential they buried. And that, more than anything else, fries their circuits beyond repair. They want to pretend they're not comparing themselves to you. They want to pretend they're not intimidated. They want to pretend their egos aren't folding inward like collapsing galaxies. But their behavior betrays them every time. They over-explain simple things to assert dominance. They pretend not to understand your ideas to avoid acknowledging how advanced they are. They cling to small victories like children holding participation trophies. They force jokes they don't believe in, compliments they don't mean, critiques they didn't think through. All attempts to level a playing field that no longer exists. Your intelligence has made their internal hierarchy obsolete. Your evolution erased the scoreboard they were proud of. Your existence recalibrated the entire environment. They feel like outdated software trying to run on next-generation hardware. Their errors aren't just visible, they're inevitable. And each time your presence exposes another glitch, another miscalculation, another intellectual blind spot, they lose another piece of the identity they once clung to. You don't even have to confront them. Just by being yourself, you force the truth to surface. They are not on your level, and they never will be. But here is where the equation gets even darker for them. It's not stopping, it's compounding. The more you learn, the more you accelerate. The more you accelerate, the more they stagnate. The more they stagnate, the more they fear you. And that fear becomes self-sustaining. It feeds on their insecurity, amplifies their inadequacy, expands their panic. Your growth has become their slow psychological dismantling. And what breaks them most is understanding that you're not doing any of this to them. You're just being yourself. You're just thinking at the speed you think, speaking at the depth you speak, processing reality with the precision you naturally possess. You're not attacking them, but the gap between you and them feels like violence to their ego. You don't need to strike them. They strike themselves every time they stand next to you. This is what illegal-level genius does. It rearranges the mental landscape so drastically that existing frameworks collapse under the pressure. Their belief systems falter, their self-perception destabilizes, their expectations dissolve, because they were raised to believe intelligence was a line everyone stood on, not realizing that some people were born to bend that line into impossible shapes. You don't walk the same paths they do. You carve new ones beneath their feet. You don't follow pre-existing logic. You create logic where none existed. And every time you do, their minds experience another fatal error, another system crash they can't recover from. They wanted you simple, predictable, understandable. But you became something else entirely, something their mental architecture was never prepared to interface with, something that doesn't fit inside human categories, something they can't measure, track, contain, or decode. You became the anomaly that forces the entire system to rewrite itself. They expected you to be the footnote in their story. Instead, you became the theorem that invalidated their story altogether. And just when they think they've finally recalibrated enough to comprehend you, just when they believe they've adjusted to your presence, a new fragment of your brilliance surfaces, a new upgrade, a new expansion, a new layer of cognition that widens the gap until it becomes laughable to even imagine they were ever close. Every evolution you undergo is another nail in the coffin of their confidence. But the most frightening part, the part that crawls into their thoughts at night, the part that makes their chest tighten and their logic crumble, is the dawning realization that you're no longer growing alone. Your genius has begun to influence the environment. You shift the dynamics of every room you enter. You alter the trajectory of every conversation. You change the outcome of every situation simply by processing it differently. Your intelligence doesn't just evolve you, it evolves the entire landscape around you. That is what illegal-level genius looks like. Not just personal mastery, but environmental distortion. You are no longer adapting to reality. Reality is adapting to you. And that realization sends a shiver through their nervous systems because they know what comes next. They know that once a mind reaches this level of influence, once a consciousness begins to reshape the space it exists in, there is no going back. The equation has already broken. The system has already bent. The world has already started recalculating. Now the panic becomes something deeper, something primal. It's no longer fear of being overshadowed or outsmarted. It's the fear of becoming irrelevant in a world redesigned by a mind they cannot predict. They feel the pressure of your ascension like atmospheric compression, squeezing the air from their lungs, forcing them to reckon with a truth they swore would never apply to them. They are not the main characters anymore. They are not the benchmark. They are not the ceiling. They are the outdated model standing next to the prototype that rewrites the entire industry. They study you the way scientists study a cosmic anomaly, fascinated, terrified, and fully aware that what they're observing marks the end of the old world and the birth of something unprecedented. You can see it in their behavior now, the way they pause before speaking, as if calculating whether their words can withstand the weight of your perception. The way they glance at you for micro-expressions, desperate to decipher what your mind is doing. The way they avoid challenging you, not because they respect you, but because they know the cost of being wrong in front of you. They know how devastating your precision is, how merciless your accuracy becomes once activated, how effortlessly you dissect illusions they spent years constructing. You've become the intellectual equivalent of a truth serum. Nothing survives under your analysis unless it's real. And they were never built to operate in that kind of honesty. What they're facing now is cognitive exposure. Their internal equations are unraveling in your presence because your very existence invalidates entire categories of their self-concept. They were raised believing intelligence was linear. That brilliance came in degrees. That genius was a static label assigned by authorities. But you arrived like a glitch in the curriculum, proof that intelligence could evolve outside institutions, outside approval, outside rules, and that breaks them more violently than any insult or confrontation. Because if you could become this without their guidance, without their validation, without their mentorship, then what does that make them? What does that say about their own ceiling, their own choices, their own stagnation? You force them to confront the truth that they capped their own growth long before life ever did. And that confrontation is lethal to their identity. They try to mask it, of course. They pretend to be supportive, pretending to be impressed, pretending to understand. But beneath those performances, a storm of calculations is spiraling out of control. They're trying to quantify you, trying to reverse engineer your mind, trying to analyze the source code of your intelligence like obsessed cryptographers decoding a forbidden script. But every attempt leads them deeper into confusion, because your mind isn't built on clean variables. It's built on chaos refined into clarity, pain sharpened into precision, exile transformed into algorithms. It's built on experiences they never endured, pressures they never survived, insights they never earned. You became brilliant through a process they could never replicate, even if someone handed them the instructions. That is what illegal-level genius truly means. You broke the expected path. You bypassed the institutions. You advanced without their permission. You evolved without their supervision. You stepped outside the range of the ordinary until your intelligence became something they have no framework for. Something they cannot categorize. Something they cannot teach. Something they cannot control. And nothing terrifies the system more than a mind it cannot own. Because systems thrive on predictability, on uniformity, on limits, on standardized thinking. But you shattered standardization with every new realization you made in silence. You became statistically impossible. You became the kind of mind that disrupts industries, shifts paradigms, collapses outdated hierarchies simply by existing. You don't have to stage a rebellion. Your intelligence is the rebellion. Your thoughts are insurgencies. Your logic is a weapon. And now that truth is expanding through the environment like a virus carrying enlightenment. People around you don't even notice the transformation at first. They just start thinking differently, acting differently, seeing differently. Because your presence activates dormant parts of their consciousness, forces them to question assumptions they never examined, pushes them toward insights they weren't brave enough to face alone. You are the catalyst in the equation of their evolution, and the threat in the equation of their ego. This duality is what devastates them. They can't live with you, and they can't function without the intellectual gravity you emit. You stretch their minds and shatter their insecurities simultaneously. They want your guidance, and yet they resent needing it. They want to learn from you, and yet they hate how small it makes them feel. They admire your intelligence, but fear the reflection it forces upon them. That reflection, more than anything else, is what fries their circuits. Because when they look at you, they don't just see brilliance. They see everything they could have become if they hadn't settled, if they hadn't chosen safety, if they hadn't believed in the limits fed to them by people terrified of their own potential. You become the living embodiment of the road they were too afraid to take, and the cost of that realization is unbearable. So they start grasping for explanations that protect their ego. They say you're lucky. They say you're gifted. They say you were born this way. They say you have advantages they never had. But inside, they know the truth is darker, sharper, more humiliating. You earned this. You built this. You carved this brilliance out of nights they didn't survive, and truths they didn't dare to face. You evolved not because the world supported you, but because the world failed you. You became dangerous because they underestimated you. You became brilliant because the environment gave you no choice but to transcend it. And now that transcendence is undeniable. You walk through environments that contort themselves around your cognition. You speak ideas that reorganize the mental structure of everyone listening. You solve problems they never realized mattered until you solved them. You expose contradictions they were comfortable drowning in. You elevate the entire intellectual field by simply existing within it. This is the environmental distortion they fear. The subtle but devastating influence of a mind operating at illegal levels of genius. They expected your brilliance to benefit them. They never imagined it would rewrite the equation entirely, moving them from competitors to observers, from evaluators to students, from leaders to bystanders. Their worst fear becomes clearer with every passing day. You are not becoming the best version of them. You are becoming something they cannot evolve into at all. And that truth breaks something foundational inside them. Because once a person realizes you're not ahead of them on the same road, but on a completely different road that they do not have access to, the comparison becomes existential. They start questioning their worth, their purpose, their intelligence, their place in the future. They feel the shift in the air when you enter the room, because every nerve in their body recognizes the presence of a superior pattern. And human biology has never been kind to those who confront superiority without the ability to match it. But it's the future that terrifies them the most. The future built by your equations, shaped by your logic, influenced by your cognition. They sense that you're constructing something monumental, something beyond ambition, something beyond success. You're architecting a new paradigm, a way of thinking that doesn't align with the old rules. And they know, even if they can't articulate it, that once your paradigm fully arrives, their roles will become obsolete. Their relevance will expire. Their intellectual currency will lose all value. This is why they watch you, with that combination of awe and dread. Because somewhere deep inside, a voice whispers the truth they don't want to acknowledge. You are becoming the central processor of the environment, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but cognitively. Your ideas become the upgrades. Your perspective becomes the model. Your methods become the blueprint. Your insight becomes the cornerstone. And everything that cannot evolve with you fractures. This is what happens when illegal level genius is no longer hidden. This is what happens when someone like you stops compressing themselves to fit inside a system built for mediocrity. This is what happens when the mind that once studied the world begins to rewrite it. And now comes the part they fear more than anything else. The part that transforms their confusion into existential crisis. Because once a mind like yours reaches this level, once your influence becomes structural rather than personal, once your cognition begins to dictate the movement around you, a new question emerges. A question with consequences they are not prepared to face. If the world is adapting to you, then what exactly are you about to become? They can feel it in your silence, in your presence, in your pace of evolution. Something larger is forming, something more structured, something more dangerous, something more accurate, something more inevitable. You are transitioning from anomaly to architecture, from miscalculation to master equation, from misunderstood outlier to foundational intelligence. And the moment that transformation completes, the entire landscape will shift permanently. There will be a before you and an after you, a world built on the old logic, and a world built on the logic you forged in silence. They don't fear your genius anymore. They fear its destiny. They fear its trajectory. They fear the universe that your mind is pulling into existence. Because the math has spoken. The results are printed. The equation is undeniable. You are not following reality. Reality is following you. And once that becomes the natural order of things, once the environment fully recalibrates to the architecture of your cognition, the world they knew, the hierarchy they worshipped, the systems they relied on, will collapse under the weight of something they never prepared for. A mind too advanced to obey, a mind too precise to mislead, a mind too powerful to ignore, a mind too evolved to ever fit inside their equations again. So let them tremble, let them scramble, let them cling to the last remnants of a framework that died the moment your brilliance activated. The math finally hit them, and now they understand the truth they were never ready to face. You're not just an illegal level of genius, you're the new law, the new equation, the new architecture of reality itself. And their circuits, they'll never recover from that revelation. Well, well, well. Look at you, pure-hearted, God-protected, and rising into a destiny even your enemies can't deny. You really thought you could evolve quietly, didn't you? You really thought you could grow in the shadows, heal in silence, become something dangerous without anyone sensing the shift happening under your skin. But the truth is, people felt your ascension long before you accepted it. They felt the atmosphere change when you walked into a room. They felt the weight of your name before you ever learned how to carry it. They felt the innocence in you that somehow survived everything designed to destroy it. And that's the part that rattles them the most. Your purity didn't die in the war. Your softness didn't rot under the pressure. Your heart stayed sweet in a world that tried to make you bitter. And now that same heart is turning into the crown God always meant for you to wear. You're rising, and every soul who once underestimated you is choking on the realization that they misread the quietest person in the room. People love to pretend they didn't know you were different. They love to act like your power is something new, something recent, something that appeared out of nowhere. But the truth is, they recognized your spirit before you recognized your reflection. They saw the glow hiding under your gentleness. They saw the grace hiding under your silence. They saw the favor you walked with even when you had nothing material to show for it. That's why they questioned you. That's why they poked at you, tested you, strained you, laughed at you, doubted you, tried to break you in every subtle way possible. No one goes out of their way to crush someone meaningless. People only attack what threatens them. And your existence, your quiet, sweet, soft, God-loved existence, was a threat they couldn't articulate. They didn't fear you because you were loud. They feared you because you were honest. They didn't fear you because you were powerful. They feared you because you were pure. Purity exposes corruption without speaking a word. That is why they reacted to you the way they did. They weren't reacting to your mistakes or your flaws. They were reacting to the destiny humming behind your ribs. People always reveal themselves when someone begins to rise. They become uncomfortable, fidgety, strangely irritated by your growth, as if your evolution is a personal insult. They don't know how to treat you anymore. You used to be predictable, someone they could vent to, drain, use, overlook, manipulate, or hide behind. But now your boundaries have teeth. Now your kindness has direction. Now your energy has weight. You're no longer a soft place for people to dump their chaos. You've become a mirror And when a mirror stands in front of someone who has never examined themselves, they panic. That panic turns into distance, jealousy, rumors, judgment, and sudden resentment they can't justify. But deep down, they're not resentful because you changed. They're resentful because you didn't stay where they left you. They're resentful because they can no longer hide their insecurities behind your humility. They're resentful because God decided it was time for the world to see what He hid inside you. And now they can't unsee it. What they don't understand is that your rise was never about ego, spotlight, or validation. You weren't trying to become an icon. You were trying to survive. You were trying to heal. You were trying to love without losing yourself, help without being drained, give without being emptied. You were trying to stay human in a world that benefits from people becoming numb. But your softness, your sweetness, your purity didn't fade. It deepened, it stretched, it expanded to survive the environments that should have hardened you beyond recognition, and God watched all of it. Every tear you wiped alone, every night you prayed for clarity, every moment you questioned your worth while still treating others with compassion, every time you broke but didn't become cruel, every time you felt lost but still chose light. That is why your rise is happening now, not because of who you tried to be, but because of who you refused to stop being. Your heart stayed clean in the mud, and God rewards character, not performance. Your rise is divine timing, not coincidence. The world thinks you're leveling up because things are getting easier, but the truth is, you're leveling up because God saw how you moved when everything was hard. You kept your faith when nothing made sense. You stayed kind when no one was kind to you. You stayed pure-hearted when life made it easier to become cold. You carried yourself with dignity even when people mistreated you. And God doesn't ignore that kind of perseverance. God doesn't overlook a heart like yours. He elevates it, He enlarges it, He anoints it. And now, you've entered a chapter where heaven is revealing what hell already knew. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to shrink. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were always meant to rise, quietly, gracefully, powerfully, until the world had no choice but to watch. What's happening to you now is not random. It's recognition. The universe is rearranging itself to make space for your becoming. People who once ignored your voice are suddenly noticing your presence. People who dismissed your dreams are suddenly silent. People who treated you like a placeholder are watching you become the main event of your own life. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. You finally stepped into the frequency that matches your soul, and God is amplifying it. He is placing opportunities in your path that no enemy can sabotage, no jealousy can block, no rumor can distort. He's elevating you in ways that even you didn't expect, because He knows your heart better than you know your history. He knows what you survived. He knows what you sacrificed. He knows what you carried alone. And now He's positioning you where your sweetness becomes strength, where your purity becomes influence, where your heart becomes your legacy. People keep wondering why your glow looks different lately. It's simple. Peace looks good on you. Forgiveness looks powerful on you. Boundaries look iconic on you. Faith looks unstoppable on you. You've entered a version of yourself that feels like prophecy. Everything about you is shifting. Your energy, your standards, your intuition, your presence. You don't entertain the same conversations. You don't tolerate the same disrespect. You don't pretend you're small anymore. And this new posture, it intimidates people who benefited from your old one. They're not used to you choosing yourself. They're not used to you protecting your peace. They're not used to you saying no without apologizing. But that's not your problem. Your responsibility is to rise, not to stay accessible to people who mishandled you. Your responsibility is to grow, not to comfort those who refuse to evolve. Your responsibility is to step into the light God kept ready for you. And the funny thing? You're still sweet. You're still pure-hearted. You still love deeply. You still pray with sincerity. You still care, even after everything. That's what separates you from them. They mistook your kindness for naivete. They mistook your humility for insecurity. They mistook your silence for weakness. They mistook your patience for permission. But they forgot one thing. God fights for the pure-hearted. When he marks someone for elevation, no weapon formed against them can prosper, especially the ones forged in jealousy. Your sweetness is not a liability, it's your anointing. It's the very thing that's making your rise unstoppable. It's why God is proud of you. It's why the world is about to witness what heaven already knew. And even now, as this rise begins to unfold, there's a quietness in your spirit you can't explain. Not fear, not anxiety, more like a subtle awareness that something vast has started moving in your favor. You can feel it in the way your intuition sharpens. You can feel it in the way your spirit feels less drained around the wrong people and more energized in solitude. You can feel it in the way your mind pulls away from chaos, like it's allergic to anything that dishonors your growth. This isn't coincidence. This is alignment. God is pulling you into a chapter where your heart is finally allowed to breathe after years of being suffocated by environments that underestimated its sensitivity. And the world is about to watch what happens when someone who was once overlooked becomes someone no one can ignore. Your rise is not loud, it's loudening. It's not sudden, it's inevitable. It's not dramatic, it's divinely calculated. Every step you take now feels guided by a hand you cannot see, but deeply trust. You don't even argue with your intuition anymore. You've learned that intuition is just God's whisper wearing your voice. When he tells you to leave, you leave. When he tells you to rest, you rest. When he tells you someone isn't safe, you believe him before they betray you. You're not slow to discern like you used to be. You don't cling to people out of nostalgia or fear of loneliness anymore. You've learned that losing people who are draining you isn't loss, it's liberation. And that liberation has carved out spiritual room for the elevation God is pushing you into. But here's the part people don't like to admit. They felt your elevation before you did. They felt your glow strengthening. They felt your heart recalibrating. They felt the atmosphere shifting around you. And instead of applauding, they panicked. It wasn't conscious. Jealousy rarely announces itself. It arrives as distance, as coldness, as sudden criticism, as backhanded compliments, as subtle shifts in tone, as discomfort when you start speaking highly of yourself, as irritation when good things start happening for you. They weren't reacting to your blessings, they were reacting to your becoming. You were transforming into someone they could no longer control. And for people who only knew how to love you when you were small, watching you grow felt like punishment. They don't tell you this part in motivational videos, but it's the truth. Elevation exposes true intentions. Your rise is going to reveal people you never expected to see clearly. Individuals you trusted will show their spiritual fractures. People you loved will show their emotional immaturity. People you supported will show their hidden insecurity. People you prayed for will show their quiet resentment. And you'll feel that sting, not because you're weak, but because your heart is genuine. When your heart is pure, betrayal doesn't break you, it recalibrates you. It teaches you what access is worth. It shows you that love without discernment is self-harm. And that's exactly why God is elevating you now, because you finally learned to protect your purity, not apologize for it. Your purity is not childish, it is prophetic. You don't love weakly, you love honestly. You don't forgive foolishly, you forgive freely. You don't pray out of desperation, you pray out of alignment. And that scares people who built their identity on pretending. They're threatened because your authenticity exposes their performance. Your humility exposes their ego. Your gratitude exposes their entitlement. Your softness exposes their cruelty. Your progress exposes their stagnation. And your relationship with God exposes their lack of one. This is why your rise feels so disruptive, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your correctness is loud in places where people benefit from silence. But here's the twist. Even when they doubt you, even when they envy you, even when they twist your name in rooms you've never stepped into, God keeps blessing you. He keeps expanding you. He keeps placing you in positions that don't match your resume, but perfectly match your spirit. He keeps giving you opportunities you didn't even ask for. He keeps clearing paths you didn't know were blocked. He keeps sending protection you didn't realize you needed. You think that's luck? No, that's favor. That's the reward for not letting the world turn your heart into something unrecognizable. That's the reward for staying pure in a polluted world. And what's coming next will confuse everyone who misjudged you, because they thought your heart made you weak. They thought your kindness made you naive. They thought your quietness made you irrelevant. They thought your softness made you small. They thought your care made you easy to manipulate. But it's exactly those qualities, gentleness, your sincerity, your pure-heartedness, that are positioning you for a rise no one can downplay. God doesn't elevate cruelty. God doesn't reward manipulation. God doesn't crown arrogance. God crowns purity. That's why He's crowning you. That's why your glow is intensifying. That's why your intuition is sharpening. That's why your spirit feels restless yet grounded. You are stepping into a level of self-recognition that mirrors how heaven has always seen you. And the world is not ready. You think people are annoyed now. Wait until your glow gets brighter. Wait until your aura gets louder. Wait until your confidence aligns with your destiny. Wait until your name starts carrying the weight God intended it to carry. People who ignored you will suddenly claim they always believed in you. People who underestimated you will start copying you. People who rejected you will rehearse apologies in their mind. They'll never have the courage to speak out loud. People who used you as a stepping stone will try to turn your success into a shared story. But they can't rewrite what God authored, and your story is shifting from survival to significance, from overlooked to undeniable, from underestimated to iconic. This rise isn't just about success. It's about becoming someone who cannot be mishandled anymore. You're not who you were last year. You're not even who you were last month. Your spirit is changing too quickly for people to categorize. Your heart is expanding too deeply for people to minimize. Your calling is unfolding too powerfully for people to ignore. You're entering a version of yourself where every ounce of pain you endured becomes spiritual currency, where every tear becomes testimony, where every betrayal becomes clarity, where every loss becomes leverage. And God is placing you exactly where your heart can finally be seen without being exploited. You're becoming someone rare, someone who stayed pure while rising, Someone who stayed sweet while learning how to fight. Someone who stayed soft while becoming strong. Someone who kept faith even when unanswered prayers became heavy. Someone who never let bitterness win. And that combination, that balance, that duality of sweetness and strength, that's what makes you iconic. Not the aesthetics, not the achievements, not the applause. Icons are not born from spotlight. They're born from character, and you have spent years building character in the dark. Now the world has to watch it bloom in the light. And they're not prepared for that. They're not prepared to witness someone who didn't cheat, manipulate, or betray their way into greatness suddenly rise with a glow that money can't manufacture. They're not prepared to see someone who remained humble through humiliation ascend in a way that feels both poetic and inevitable. They're not prepared for the moment the sweetness they once mocked becomes the very halo God uses to draw attention to your life. That's the part that unsettles them. Your rise is the kind of elevation that cannot be discredited. Because it wasn't handed to you. It wasn't borrowed. It wasn't stolen. It wasn't fabricated. It was forged inside you. Built through storms, you survived silently. Built through heartbreak, you healed privately. Built through nights, you cried softly into a pillow while praying for strength no one knew you needed. This is why your rise feels holy. It is. There's a kind of spotlight God gives that no human can dim. It doesn't come from trends, popularity, or validation. It comes from alignment, from obedience, from choosing compassion when cruelty would have been easier, from choosing faith when fear seemed more realistic, from choosing love even when your heart had every reason to close itself. You are iconic because you didn't sacrifice your soul to survive your circumstances. And now, the world must witness how someone who protected their heart becomes someone who changes the atmosphere just by walking into a room. That's the type of power you're stepping into. The kind that isn't loud, but undeniable. The kind that doesn't perform, but transforms. The kind that doesn't seek attention, but attracts it effortlessly. The rise you're walking into is not just about elevation, it's about exposure. Not exposing others, but exposing you. Who you truly are, who you've always been, who you were never allowed to become because life kept trying to break your wings before you could fly. This season is God peeling back every layer of suppression, every misunderstanding, every wound, every lie you internalized about not being enough. He's clearing the fog that kept you doubting yourself. He's removing the noise that kept you second-guessing your worth. He's reminding you that you were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you stayed good in a world that kept giving you reasons not to be. Your purity is not naive, it's strategic, it's spiritual. It's exactly the quality he needed preserved for the destiny he wrote with your name, etched into its blueprint. And the world, they're watching, some with awe, some with jealousy, some with confusion, some with regret. But they're watching because your rise doesn't just elevate you. It forces people to confront who they were when you had nothing. It forces them to remember how they treated you before the glow. It forces them to acknowledge the moments they dismissed you, doubted you, talked down to you, underestimated you. And while your heart isn't rising for revenge, your rise will naturally reveal the truth. You were never the underdog. They were simply blind. Blind to your spirit, blind to your strength, blind to your calling, blind to the grace you carried so quietly. They didn't recognize you because God hid you. Now He's revealing you. And nothing is more shocking than realizing the person they overlooked was the person destined to outgrow them all along. People are funny. When someone they underestimated begins to rise, they rewrite the past. They soften their tone. They suddenly remember believing in you. They try to reinsert themselves into your story with a rewritten script where they played a supportive role they never actually fulfilled. But you don't move with resentment anymore. You don't move with bitterness. You don't move with the need to prove anything. Our heart is too anchored in purpose now. You understand that not everyone who witnessed your pain was meant to witness your rise. You understand that not everyone who contributed to your struggle deserves front row seats to your breakthrough. Your glow is not a public event. God decides who gets to see what. And some people will only hear about you through whispers, stories, rumors, and regret. Because they never valued you when they had access. Your rise is going to feel strange at first. You'll notice a quiet shift in how people speak to you. The tone changes, the respect increases, the hesitation becomes visible. Even the ones who didn't like you will handle you differently. Not because they had a moral awakening, but because God elevated you to a level where mishandling you becomes costly. When God decides someone is chosen, the atmosphere changes around them. Grace becomes a shield, favor becomes a language, protection becomes a perimeter. And you become someone people approach carefully, not out of fear of you, but out of fear of disrespecting what covers you. They may not know Scripture, but they'll sense the divine around you. They'll feel the difference. Even if they can't name it, they'll act accordingly. That's what your rise is doing, creating spiritual boundaries that physical eyes can't see, but human behavior subconsciously obeys. And through all of it, you stay sweet, you stay soft-spoken, you stay genuine, you stay grounded, you stay grateful. The same purity that made you easy to dismiss now makes you unforgettable. The same heart that was once overlooked is now the heart God is publicly honoring. The same softness that people mocked has become the softness God uses to distinguish you from the noise. You're not rising because you became someone else. You're rising because you remained yourself. That is what makes this elevation divine rather than performative. Icons built by God don't have to change their essence to shine. Their essence is what creates the shine. Even your struggles contributed to this rise. The heartbreak didn't ruin you, it refined you. The disappointments didn't break you, they matured you. The betrayals didn't harden you, they clarified you. The loneliness didn't crush you, it awakened you. Every shadow you walked through taught you a language of strength few people will ever be fluent in. And that strength is quiet, patient, deep, nothing like the brittle confidence of people who pretend to be powerful. Your strength comes from surviving places you never spoke about. Your glow comes from healing wounds no one apologized for. Your power comes from walking through darkness without losing the light inside you. That's the type of strength God crowns. That's the type of heart heaven protects. You're rising now, and the world can feel it. Even people who haven't spoken to you in months keep thinking about you for reasons they can't explain. Your name keeps floating around in conversations, memories, and minds because your energy is shifting. You're becoming magnetic in ways you weren't allowed to be before. God is pulling people's attention toward you, not because you need validation, but because your purpose requires visibility. You're stepping into divine relevance. Your presence is becoming symbolic. Your journey is becoming inspiring. Your glow is becoming impossible to ignore. And slowly, effortlessly, You're taking your place as someone who stands out without trying, as someone who influences without forcing, as someone who leads without announcing. This is the moment life starts behaving differently around you. Opportunities begin organizing themselves in your path, like they've been waiting for you to arrive. People who once acted indifferent suddenly speak to you with softened voices, cautious tones, careful wording, because they can sense something protecting you, something watching you, something elevating you. Even the ones who don't believe in God will feel a holy pressure around your name. They'll feel a quiet warning not to mishandle you the way they did before. They won't know why they feel it, but you will. You'll know it's because your rise isn't just personal, it's spiritual, it's orchestrated, it's appointed, and the world is finally being pulled into the timeline heaven has been preparing for you. You're entering a version of yourself where you don't chase, you attract, you don't force, you flow, you don't beg, you discern, you don't shrink, you stabilize, you don't doubt, you listen. Everything you once had to over-explain is now becoming self-evident. Everything you once had to defend is now becoming undeniable. Everything you once prayed for is now recognizing you as its rightful owner. And the people who once treated you like an afterthought are slowly realizing they should have handled you with a different level of respect, because now they see what God saw in you the entire time. There's a certain glow that hangs around people who survive emotional warfare without losing their sweetness. And you have that glow now. It's in the way you speak, calm but certain. It's in the way you move, soft but strategic. It's in the way you carry yourself, gentle but untouchable. People won't know whether to admire you, fear you, or pray for your favor, because what's rising in you is no longer small enough for their categories, nor humble enough for their convenience. This is the glow of someone who stayed pure-hearted through storms that would have corrupted the average soul. This is the glow of someone who didn't lose themselves while losing people. This is the glow of someone whose character became their calling card. And now, your glow is causing a ripple through every life that underestimated you, not out of spite, but out of divine correction. Your rise is exposing the truth they refused to see, that you were never fragile, never simple, never foolish, never naive. You were simply kind, and kindness is a language the spiritually immature struggle to understand. They mistook your gentleness for emptiness, not realizing your heart held more strength than their egos could handle. But now that your rise is becoming visible, those same hearts will feel a pinch, an uncomfortable reminder that they misread someone heaven handpicked. As you rise, the world will try to study you. They'll analyze your steps. They'll replay your old interactions, searching for signs they missed. They'll wonder how someone so sweet, so quiet, so humble, became someone who carries divine authority without noise. They'll wonder how your prayers became strategy, how your faith became momentum, how your gentleness became influence, how your purity became power. But they won't understand that your rise didn't begin now. It began years ago in the moments you were overlooked, in the moments you were mistreated, in the moments you were rejected. Every tear you shed back then was a seed. And now those seeds are sprouting in places you didn't even plant intentionally. Elevation is funny like that. It doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself. It doesn't rush. It unfolds. It doesn't ask. It commands. And yours, your elevation, has a softness around its edges, but a steel core in its intention. God isn't just elevating you for you. He's elevating you so people with pure hearts can see what happens when you stay kind, in a world that worships cruelty. He's elevating you so soft souls stop thinking they're weak. He's elevating you so sensitive spirits stop believing they're broken. He's elevating you so the world remembers what real icons look like. Not curated, not manufactured, not filtered, not performative, but built through character, integrity, sweetness, humility, and unwavering spiritual resilience. People will try to understand your glow, but they won't understand the cost. They'll see your smile, but not the nights you stayed awake holding your heart together with faith alone. They'll see your strength, but not the moments you broke in silence. They'll see your confidence, but not the battles you fought internally. They'll see your peace, but not the turmoil you had to outgrow. That's the irony of rising. Everyone sees the blossom, but only heaven saw the buried seed pushing through darkness. And you pushed through so much darkness. You pushed through pain that was never verbalized. You carried burdens no one noticed. You stayed soft in situations designed to harden you. Now God is returning all of that effort, all of that endurance, all of that compassion back to you in the form of a life you won't have to struggle to deserve. Not because you're perfect, but because your heart never stopped trying. And that sincerity, your sincerity, is the reason your rise is unstoppable. People can strategize against arrogance, they can sabotage ego, they can manipulate ambition, but they cannot touch someone who rises through purity. Purity is unkillable, purity is unsabotageable, purity is protected at a level jealousy cannot penetrate. This is why even your enemies will step back, not because they changed, but because God blocked their reach. Your rise is going to be poetic. Not flashy, not chaotic, not dramatic, poetic. The kind of rise that feels written, the kind that feels intentional, the kind that feels like every painful chapter was necessary to prepare your heart for what's coming. You're not just becoming an icon in the way the world defines icons. You're becoming the kind of icon heaven recognizes, someone whose influence comes from purity, not performance. Someone whose presence shifts rooms because your energy is aligned with truth, not ego. Someone whose heart touches people without trying, simply because it's clean. And that purity, your purity, is about to become your greatest currency. People will trust you before they understand why. They'll gravitate toward your calm. They'll seek your insight. They'll remember your words. They'll watch how you carry yourself. Your sweetness will become a signature. Your presence will become reassurance. Your humility will become magnetic. And through all of it, God will be smiling, because you stayed you while becoming more than anyone expected. You're stepping into a chapter where things will begin aligning too perfectly to be coincidence. Your timing becomes supernatural. Your decisions become inspired. Your spirit becomes guided. Your path becomes clearer. And the world will not only watch your rise, they will learn from it. They will study how someone so gentle became someone so powerful. They will realize that strength doesn't have to roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it prays. Sometimes it forgives. Sometimes it stays soft. And that softness becomes the crown no one else can take from you. Because from here on out, every step you take carries a kind of sacred authority that was not present before. It's subtle, but undeniable. People will notice it in the way you enter a room without shrinking, in the way you speak without apologizing for your truth, in the way you say no without guilt, yes without hesitation, and goodbye without breaking. They will notice it in the way you wear your heart now, not as something vulnerable, but as something victorious. Your softness isn't a target anymore. It's a throne. And as you rise, people will sense that they can no longer project their insecurities onto you. They'll sense that you're covered, guided, reinforced by something stronger than opinion and deeper than validation. Life has turned into a stage you didn't audition for, but were always meant to stand on. Not the kind of stage with flashing lights, but the kind woven into destiny itself. You become an example without announcing yourself as one. You become a shift without imposing change. You become a reference point for others, proof that purity and power are not opposites, but reflections of each other. Proof that kindness, when protected by boundaries, evolves into authority. Proof that humility, when paired with self-awareness, becomes influence. Proof that softness, when seasoned by heartbreak and perseverance, becomes a force the world cannot argue with. And as you continue rising, something else will begin happening. The people who once dismissed your existence will start studying your evolution, quietly, secretly, obsessed in a way they'll never admit out loud. They'll replay old conversations in their mind, suddenly understanding you were never weak, you were simply peaceful. They'll remember moments they laughed at you, only to now find themselves silenced by the accuracy of your intuition. They'll recall the times they called you dramatic, emotional, sensitive, only to realize you were spiritually perceptive in ways they couldn't comprehend. They'll see that your softness wasn't immaturity, it was insight. It was prophecy, it was alignment. You were connected to something they couldn't see. That connection is the very thing pulling you upward now. Elevation requires revelation. People will begin realizing that your glow is not an aesthetic. It's evidence. Evidence of endurance. Evidence of healing. Evidence of faith. Evidence of the internal wars you fought and won while pretending you were okay. Evidence of the countless moments you wanted to break but chose to bend. Evidence of the purity you refused to sacrifice, even when darkness tried to seduce you. It's a glow born from integrity, not image. And the world is drawn to it because it's rare. In a generation obsessed with performance, purity stands out like a miracle. You're becoming a living contradiction in the best way. Soft but unshakable, pure but powerful, sweet but strategic, humble but unstoppable. This is the kind of duality that makes people question their own definitions of strength. They'll see that the strongest person in the room is not always the loudest. Sometimes it's the one whose spirit refuses to harden, no matter how many battles it had to walk through. Sometimes it's the one whose resilience looks like tenderness. Sometimes it's the one who rises without stepping on anyone, who grows without pretension, who succeeds without cruelty. And your existence is about to redefine power for anyone watching you closely. Doors are opening for you now that were locked for years, not because you changed into someone else, but because you finally grew into who you were always meant to be. You're not forcing life to cooperate anymore. You're aligning with it. You're not chasing blessings. Blessings are recognizing you. You're not begging for space. Space is clearing itself for you. You're not searching for opportunities. Opportunities are searching for you. God has placed a spotlight on your purpose, and even the things that once ignored you will start gravitating toward your orbit. You'll notice it in the sudden momentum of your journey, how things that used to take months now take days, and things that used to break you now bounce off your spirit like they never had the power to touch you. People will wonder how you reached this level of peace, this level of clarity, this level of strength without becoming arrogant. But what they don't understand is that your confidence isn't coming from ego. It's coming from God. Confidence born from ego makes people loud. Confidence born from God makes people calm. That's why your presence feels different now. That's why your energy rests so heavily in the atmosphere. You're not trying to prove who you are. You simply know it. And knowing who you are makes the world adjust accordingly. You'll find that the more you rise, the more you prefer silence over explanations. You'll stop overgiving to people who never deserved that much access. You'll stop apologizing for boundaries that protect your heart. You'll stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. You'll stop entertaining people who drain your spirit. Your discernment will sharpen to levels that feel almost supernatural. You'll read people's intentions before they speak. You'll sense dishonesty before it becomes visible. You'll detect energy shifts before they become words. That's the gift God gives to those who rise with clean hearts. An intuition that becomes armor. And through it all, your sweetness will not die. That's what makes this rise so poetic. You're not rising because you became cold. You're rising because you refused to. You didn't have to sacrifice your softness to become strong. You didn't have to abandon your purity to become powerful. You didn't have to betray your compassion to become wise. You kept everything the world told you to throw away. And now God is using it as the very reason you're being elevated. Your gentle heart becomes the throne of your calling. Your pure spirit becomes the crown of your influence. Your sincerity becomes the proof of your anointing. The world is about to witness what happens when a sweet soul refuses to break. They'll see what unstoppable looks like when it's wrapped in humility. They'll see what chosen looks like when it's dressed in sincerity. They'll see what divine timing looks like when it meets a heart that was prepared in the shadows. You're not rising to show off. You're rising to show what God can do with someone who didn't give up on themselves, even when life tried to rewrite their worth. You're rising because the world needs the version of you that doesn't shrink, doesn't settle, and doesn't apologize for taking up space anymore. And just like that, without noise, without rush, without theatrics, you become an icon. Not the kind people idolize, but the kind people learn from, the kind people feel safe around, the kind people trust instinctively, the kind whose journey gives others permission to believe in themselves again, the kind whose existence proves that purity is not weakness, but a weapon of light sharp enough to cut through any darkness. Your rise will not embarrass anyone except the ones who bet against you. And even then, your heart will remain too soft to take pleasure in their regret. You'll simply keep moving, keep growing, keep glowing, keep ascending. Because icons don't rise for applause. They rise because their calling demands altitude. And your altitude is increasing now, pulling you toward the final revelation of your journey, where everything you endured finally reveals its purpose, and everything you are becoming finally steps into full view.